Welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. It's a beautiful day in Cowtown, and we're so glad you could join us today for our Rotary meeting. We're going to start the meeting today with the invocation led by Secretary Karen Telshaw Johnson, owner and principal of Telshaw Johnson Law, PLLC, followed by the national anthem played by Calvin Dennis. Karen?
Thank you. Let us pray. Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy, accept our prayer on behalf of our country and our community. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, judges, officers, and officials who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed so that peace and security, happiness, and freedom will never depart from our land. God, whose spirit is in all creatures, we pray that your spirit be awakened within all of the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and friendship among the many peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty from our land. May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on the earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me, and let us say, Amen. Amen.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the
Thank you, Karen and Calvin. Here today to introduce our visitors is Russell Jacobson, Financial Planning Advisor at Astoria Strategic Wealth. Russell?
All right, good afternoon, y'all. If you can join me in welcoming our guests, I'll ask you to stand after I read your name so we can give you a round of applause, and thank you for being here. First up, we have Cindy Weston, guest of Kathy Neese Brown. Marshall Harris, guest of Bill Fairley. Kevin Pellegrino, guest of Perry Pillow. Kit Marshall, also a guest of Perry Pillow. Chris Butler, guest of Charles Johnson. Ashton Sweat, guest of Corey Harris. Mary Grace Tennis, guest of Carlo Capua. Leah Payne, guest of Rebecca Montgomery. Beal Cron, guest of Carlo Capua. Jessica McCone, guest of David Campbell. Calvin Pinnell, guest of John Kirk. Jennifer Schwartzbach, guest of Rebecca Montgomery. And Sue Christoph, guest of Courtney Lewis. Thank you all.
Thank you, Russell, and thank you all for joining us today because we have a great program. Now, please join me in reciting the four-way test, a guide for the things we think, say, and do. Number one, is it the truth? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And now, with great trepidation, we set aside the four-way test for a few minutes as we have our newscast by John Fletcher. John is the president and CEO of Fletcher Consulting Public Relations. Mr. Fletcher.
I'm so humbled. You know, I feel like the guy at the Coldplay concert caught on the kiss cam with his honey who is not his wife. Well, anyway, good Friday afternoon. Today is National Water Balloon Day, National Spider-Man Day, and World Wide Web Day. Speaking of which, those two executives from Astronomer wish that they had never heard of the internet or social media. Sneaking out in public forum like this only proves the saying, the two most common elements in the universe are hydrogen and stupidity. That Coldplay concert interrupted on the kiss cam by the frisky couple canoodling when they should not have canoodled. Well, the rumor has it that now one works at McDonald's and one at Krispy Kreme, which is odd because those two brands recently broke up from their partnership. And the Savannah Bananas baseball team got in the moment on that, so if you please click this. What could I say? Well, okay, that's good. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. One observer said 3 years ago that gas prices were so low that to save money, he had to fill up his lawnmower with Russian vodka. Then it invaded the neighbor's lawn and annexed the flower bed. And art's back in the news, the Maurizio Catalan piece, Comedian, which features a real banana duct taped to a wall, has been, as you see there, has been replicated by the artist several times, most recently fetching a phenomenal $6.2 million in auction in New York City. Apparently, hungry art appreciators can't peel themselves away. And another duct tape banana brought $120,000. Roger, this might be a good fundraiser for you. You could do that. And I have one at home, so I'll let you have it for only $50,000 with a complete roll of duct tape, not just a little piece. And we'll give some of that money to the Paul Harris Fund. In the latest political news, a mathematician reports that for democracy to survive, every single American must run for president in 2028. Dr. Getting It Done is chairman of the International Discombobulative Society to Save Democracy movement. And following Friday's mob-style attack in Cincinnati, the police chief has called a news conference, not necessarily to condemn the violence, but in a request to stop shooting videos of the crime because it makes her look bad. President Trump shows that he can be a flexible negotiator. This week, he confirmed a trade deal with the European Union for a 15% tariff on goods brought into the United States. He offered to remove all tariffs if the Europeans would remove the senseless letter U from such words as labor, honor, and color. And AI technology has failed us. Each of us has hoped that we would return from Rotary only to find that AI has replaced our jobs. But that's not the case. There's a good chance that no robot can ever do what we claim to do. They don't take naps. They don't know how to make excuses, and they never call in late or sick. And sadly, you're disappointed to see that AI has not replaced the guy sitting 2 desks down from you who microwaves spinach and tuna at lunch. We all know who that guy is, don't we? And not quite sleepless in Seattle, but citizens protested the performance of the Blue Angels precision flight team, complaining that their carbon footprint was so large. However, the carbon footprint is also neutralized by the stench of a city where so many people are smoking marijuana out in the open. And so what are IRS employees doing now that they got laid off from the reduction in force from the administration? Well, inquiring minds want to know, and 3 of our Rotarians are going to report on that. So, Chavoy Hamilton, what are they going to do?
They're becoming Muslims. Look, y'all, they jump out of back alleys and rob people of all their money.
That sounds about right. That's good. Karen?
No, they become CIA interrogators. Waterboarding can't be that
And you know, the one that has the most truth is our Congressman, Roger Williams.
Fill-in host of CBS's The Late Show, but you better be in a hurry.
Thanks, Roger. In sports, legendary wrestler Hulk Hogan, who died this last week. Yeah, let's give him some more applause. But Hulk Hogan, who died this past week, showed up in heaven where he immediately challenged biblical figure Jacob to what he called the greatest wrestling match ever. And every time you hear thunder, one of them is hitting the mat. The Dallas Mavericks, fresh off having the #1 pick in the NBA and the highest rated player, made news this week when they traded all of the team's basketballs for some chicken wings at Whataburger. And a man at Disney World was shocked to find out how well his kids were getting along. Nobody was complaining, nobody was crying. Then he realized that he was standing with the wrong family. Ozzy Osbourne, the former frontman of the heavy rock group Black Sabbath, went to heaven and told St. Peter he was just joking about the Satanism thing, saying it was just an act to sell tickets. In publishing time, Ozzy was granted a probationary period where it's nice and warm, actually very warm. And finally, yes, it's here. Frustrated with their perceived low pay, WNBA players wore shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us," at the All-Star game. Ironic, isn't it, though, that not a single Rotarian wears that shirt? Is there any chance that we just might be overpaid? Anyway, the forecast calls for highs in the low 90s and for the next few days, so pack a sweater. And that's Rotary News.
Thank you, John. Next, we have a public image announcement. Here to tell you about the new Public Image Committee is their co-chairman, Candace Metallic, the CEO of CTM Professional Services. Candace, what do you have?
Hello, everyone. Your new Public Image Committee, group of 15 people, is working very, very hard this year. We've got a lot of projects going, and all of them are pretty fun, including merch. Who doesn't love merch? Well, we're going to set you up with some new merch for the club. We've got a whole line of things that we're developing, but the first thing is golf shirts. Like this one. This one doesn't have our club logo, but it does have a new Rotary logo. So these are going to be available for you to order, and we're encouraging you to do it quickly because we're going to start wearing them at certain meetings throughout the year. And the first one is August 22nd, which is coming up pretty soon when our district governor is visiting us. So at the end of the meeting, at the check-in table, if you'll stop in and order your shirt, so we have a good response. If you have a golf shirt, if you have another Rotary shirt already, wear that on August 22nd, and keep tuned for the line of merch that we've got developed. We've got things for women. We're going to have umbrellas and Yeti cups and all sorts of wonderful stuff to show our pride in being part of this club. Thanks.
Thank you, Candace, and we will enjoy our first Rotary Spirit Day on August 22nd. So order today because it takes 2 weeks to get them done. You'll get it in 2 weeks, and that'll be in time to wear the next week on August 22nd. Okay, now we have past president Rachel Marker, who is a strategic account executive for Miller Knoll, and she will join us to present 2 grant awards. As Rachel is making her way to the stage, I'd like to ask the grant recipients to please stay on stage after you get the check for a photograph with Rachel. Take it away.
Thank you, President Ann. Today's first grant for $2,500 goes to Don't Forget to Feed Me. The grant will The grant will fund the state program and pet food assistance. Accepting the check for the organization is Maria Kogel. Today's second grant for $5,000 goes to the Foundation for the Young Women's Leadership Academy of Fort Worth. The grant will fund summer learning opportunities. The check for the organization is Dr. Danica Franks. Hesitation. There we go. Thank you. Thank you to both of these organizations for all that you do in our community. And as a reminder to the rest of the club, we can only make these possible through the generous supports of our membership. Please consider making a donation to one of these grants possible using this QR code. I don't see anyone getting their phones out. I want to see at least 3 people getting their phones out. I know we say that, Campbell for the win, Michelle, anyone else? Seriously though, we do a lot of really good work for a lot of organizations across the community. Please be sure and donate. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Rachel, and congratulations to both of these fine organizations. We're proud to support your work, and I think they're coming back for another photo. So. Good. And be sure to check our webpage and Facebook for the photo that you have just seen taken. All right, now let's welcome back Secretary Karen Chalshaw Johnson as she gives us first and second readings for membership.
So we have one first reading today. The proposed member is Scott Ryder, President and CEO of the Ryder Group in Real-Time Feedback, Classification of Industry Technology Consulting, proposer Ed McClellan. If no written objections are received in the Rotary office by August 8th, the proposal will be given a second reading and voted on by the club. Congrats, Scott. There are 3 second readings today. So the proposed members are Adam Powell, President and CEO of United Way, Tarrant County, classification not-for-profit, proposer AG and past president Sean Snell. I move his election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. Adam Powell is hereby elected to membership. Welcome, Adam.
Congrats. Okay, second is Evan Lewis, VP Relationship Manager, Bank of America, classification banking, proposer past President Courtney Lewis. I move his election subject to attending a Rotary information session.
I hear a second. Karen has moved to elect Evan Lewis, and there is a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it, and Evan Lewis is hereby elected to membership in Rotary. We welcome Evan.
And last but certainly not least, Kippen DeAlba, President and CEO, Fort Worth Sister Cities International, classification not-for-profit, proposer past President Carlo Capua. I move this election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it, and Kippen is hereby elected.
Congrats
Welcome,
to all.
Kippen. Thank you, Secretary Karen. And as a reminder, if you know of persons who are interested in joining Rotary, please bring them to a meeting. Visitors and potential members are always welcome here. It is always a pleasure to present a blue badge to new members who have completed at least 6 acts of service. Today, we are presenting a blue badge to Jared Cobb. Jared, where are you? Here he comes. Jared is the Senior Vice President of Programs, Boys and Girls Club of Greater Tarrant County. Congratulations, Jared, on earning your blue badge. And tell us your favorite thing.
Member check-in.
Member check-in. And how long did it take?
2 months.
2 months, not bad.
No.
Thank you, and we're awfully proud. Thank you, Jared. And now I would like to call on our immediate past president, who is serving as chairperson of the day. Please join me in welcoming back Rebecca Montgomery, CEO and founder of Montgomery Strategies, who's back in town after a well-deserved vacation, and here today to introduce our guest speaker. Rebecca.
Ciao, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm honored to introduce our guest speaker today, who is not just a colleague, but also a dear friend. Over the years, we have collaborated on various issues impacting our local community, and I look forward to many more opportunities ahead. Congressman Roger Williams represents the 25th Congressional District located in North Texas. While we consider him one of our locals, the district includes part or all of the following counties: Young, Jack, Stevens, Palo Pinto, Callahan, Eastland, Comanche, Erath, Parker, no, I'm not done yet, Hood, Somerville, Johnson, and Tarrant. So thank you to you and your team for all of your service, because we understand that requires a lot of time and effort and work. Thank you. He was raised in the Fort Worth area and attended Texas Christian University. Maybe he will share a bit about his baseball career as a TCU Horned Frog. He was first elected to Congress in 2012. He's been proud to serve on the House Financial Services Committee, very important, and also as chairman of the House Committee on Small Business. While we must address the many issues you're facing state and nationwide, your leadership on the Small Business Committee is truly appreciated. As a small business owner himself, he understands the daily challenges faced with running operations. Well, Congressman, this room has many small business owners. Can I get a shout out from all of you small business owners? Thank you. We get it and we understand, we appreciate that. We thank you for all your efforts and also for introducing legislation to eliminate regulatory burdens, for stepping up and that represents us regarding this important endeavor. I believe there are several in this room who would share in appreciating this quote by our congressman. Small businesses are the backbone of the American economy, and it is crucial that they can access affordable credit to support and grow our communities. It is time to make small businesses great again. Thank you. Everyone, please help me in welcoming our Congressman Roger Williams.
Thanks for that nice introduction. And I saw Cumbie and Tom Williams are here today. And I asked him, I said, how long do you want me to speak? And Tom said, I don't know how long you're going to speak, but we're going to leave in 12 minutes. So I got that message. And I'm also reminded of a message that when Secretary Guerin was chairman of this club, one of the great moments was he was president and we ate lunch and we visited, and probably it was almost 1 o'clock, and he came up and he said, we got some bad news and some good news. The bad news is the speaker has no-showed. The good news is it was the district director. So, Cumbie remembers those days, right? But Rebecca, thank you for your friendship. Thank you for what your husband does for the community. You mentioned, I think, about my baseball career. I want to tell one quick story about that. So I played at TCU, and I played in the Atlanta Braves organization for several years. And a former member here, Bobby Bragan, some of you may remember, but Bobby is the one that drafted me, Neva, and signed me. And when I signed, I got a big league contract in 1972, and I made $12,000 a year. Now, Parr's laughing at me, but that's a lot of money back then, right? So several years ago, before Bobby passed away, I asked him what all of us say when we watch baseball anymore is, what the heck would I make if I was playing today? And I said, Bobby, you know how I played. You drafted me. What do you think I would make today if I was playing? He said, well, it's a different game. But he said, you could run, you could hit, you could throw, you could do some things. But he said, if you were playing today in this environment like it is, he said, I think you would make $12,000. So, that's my career right there. But listen, I'm really honored to be here. It's an honor to be a fellow Rotarian in this club. It really is. And to see all my dear friends. And I ran for Congress, not because I ever thought I'd be a congressman, but ever wanted to, but I ran for Congress back in, I've been in since 2012. It's hard to imagine that. But I ran because a fella came to see me. Can I use your name? Can I have your money? Can I have your house? He did all that, and I said yes. And saw him on TV a couple of days later, and he didn't do anything he told me to do. So I decided I'd run for Congress because I didn't think anybody was fighting for small business. I didn't think anybody was fighting for Main Street on either side. I'm not talking Republican or Democrat. Either side, nobody was fighting for me. I didn't think. So I ran for Congress, ran on a small business message. Was going to do 2 years. Now I'm almost running for my 8th term, but I'm glad I did it. But as you said earlier, I'm on Financial Services Committee, and what I thought I'd do is give you a brief what's going on in D.C., then answer your questions. But I serve on the Financial Services Committee. I'm the ranking Texan on that committee now because I've been there so long. But that's the committee that oversees the Fed, that oversees the banks, the credit unions, you name it. Many of you have been in my office on issues that relate to that business and so forth. So I'm the ranking Texan there. And then I've been honored to be elected by my fellow colleagues as chairman of the Small Business Committee. And I would say this to all of you. There's not a better person, Gary, to run the Small Business Committee than Roger. But if it was you, you would be the same person. Because we lack people with business acumen in the United States Congress. And when you talk about the Small Business Committee, which I chair, we have oversight of the SBA. We also just recently got oversight of the student loan program, $1.72 trillion out there of student loans is going to be going through my committee. But 99% of the businesses in America right now are small businesses. 99%, you all know that. 75% of the payroll, 75% of the workforce is generated by small businesses like yours and like mine. And the fact that I still own a business in Congress, I still meet the payroll, I still hold sales meetings on Saturday, it's unique. And I think I bring value to you. But that's what the small business Main Street America is like right now. 99% of us are putting 75% of the payroll together. Jurisdiction that we have over this small business is pretty dominant. We're widespread. We have things like we've had hearings this year on NIL. I had the first hearing on pay to play, and we were talking about that earlier. First hearing came through my committee, and I would tell you right now, there is no place for the federal government in college athletics. There's just no way. And a lot of people think there is, but we can't even run our own business, Frank, much run the college athletic business. But we had hearings on that. We've had hearings on rare earth minerals. We've had hearings on taxes. We've had hearings on access to capital. We've had hearings on energy. We've had hearings on trade schools. And that's one thing I'm close to because we have 100,000 kids every year dropping out of school in Texas. 100,000 kids dropping out of school in the 9th grade because they're losing hope. And they're losing hope because they don't think they can be a lawyer, they can be a business guy, they can be whatever. But what we need to have is we need more trade people. We need, like we have at Tarrant County College, more plumbers, welders, carpenters. We're doing a lot of work with the schools on that. And so my bill, I mean, my committee, I'm proud to say, we have a committee that's kind of unheard of in Washington. We are actually bipartisan, and we're actually happy. We actually have a smile on our face. We actually are getting things done. When you watch TV and you see some of these hearings, it's unbelievable. Please don't think it's like that almost like that every day, but not every day. We get a lot of good things done, and I tell people in the committee that I chair, we got 17 bills out the first 6 months of this year. Now, that may scare the heck out of you. They may say, well, that's too much government. But these were bills that actually reduced government. But they were bipartisan. That means Republicans and Democrats all agreed. We got them out, got them on the House floor, and they're on the way to the Senate. And they're all pro-business friendly. And we were able to do that, and I take pride in that because that's how we're supposed to get things done. And I will tell you about the SBA real quick. The SBA is celebrating its 72nd year. Actually, the birthday is today or yesterday. But the SBA has been a pillar on helping small businesses get started. Maybe you lacked a little capital. You didn't have enough maybe to go to the bank, but the bank hooked you up with the SBA, and it's really worked. And the SBA, though, frankly, has gotten off the rails a little bit. And it got off the rails with COVID. The SBA practically was broken by COVID. $220 billion is still missing from the COVID fund. $220 billion. And there's $79 billion still missing of a loan called the EIDL loan. Well, we're digging into this and we're getting this money back. We're not going to get it all back. But the $79 billion, we're doing some business things to kind of get that back that we all would do in business. I look at this, I look at these numbers as a receivable from the taxpayer, the government to us. And we treat it that way. And we're going to take this $79 billion, for example, And we're going to factor that money like we would a receivable, like a business would. We're going to factor it. We're going to take it out of the private sector. We're going to sell it to the private sector. They're going to discount it. They might even discount the $79 billion at 90%. Well, there's 10% of $79 billion is $7 billion that we can take and we can flush into Main Street America and let Main Street borrow that money, let Main Street grow, hire people, and create more taxpayers. Those are the kind of things we're doing. But I would tell you since November, since we've begun to put a great SBA program together with myself, Kelly Loeffler's the administrator from Georgia in the cabinet, and Joni Ernst over in the Senate. We got a good team going. And loans are up 75% over what they were last year through the SBA, because we're finding ways to make it happen, not find ways not to make it happen. Everybody needs a chance. And with the opportunities and things we're doing right now, it's a great opportunity to get into business and stay in business. We also just the other day we've had caps, and some of these caps in government they're antiquated. They don't deal with today's dollars. We've had a $5 million cap on manufacturing businesses that want to go through the SBA. We raised that the other day, Gary, to $10 million. That's huge, because now people can make their business larger. They can hire more people, and we need to take a look at that. And a lot of people are taking advantage of that, and so forth. So those are the kind of things we're doing to get the economy going and help small business, because I'm all about small business. I'm your guy. And we got a lot of good things we can do, because I believe that less government's the best government, right? So I want to tie into real quick and tell you how it's going to help America and help small businesses is the big, beautiful bill that we just passed last week by one vote. It was hard fought, but it's going to do some good things. One of the great things it does is it makes tax cuts permanent, makes them permanent. So now you can manage, you know what you're going to be paying in taxes. See, I'm one of those I do believe in tax cuts. I believe if you put more money in the hands of the people, that's a good thing, rather than more money in the hands of the government. And when you cut taxes, you create more taxpayers, you create more tax revenue, you create more opportunities for people, and that's what we're going to see happen. We're going to see more people get involved, more people get off unemployment rolls, have a chance to create something, because the government can create a job for you, but the government can't create net worth, and that's what the private sector does. So we're going to see tax cuts made permanent. We're going to see regulations. Regulations have been stymieing small business. And I would venture to say, is there anybody in here that is underregulated, would be the question I would ask you. I don't think so, right? But so many businesses have been overregulated, they couldn't stay in business because they couldn't afford a lawyer, they couldn't afford a CPA, they couldn't afford to just fight the government. They found themselves being in competition with the government rather than the competitor down the street. And so regulations have been choking community banks. I know we have some bankers in here, but community banks were becoming less and less because they couldn't keep up with the regulations. And if you're a borrower like me, I've been in business 57 years in the car business, hadn't been one day, not one day have I gotten out of bed that I didn't know a community bank money. And community banks were finding it was easier not to make the loan than to make the loan. They were having to consolidate. Some towns didn't even have banks, and regulations were killing them. In fact, the regulations were so high and so strenuous that in the last 4 years, regulations went up to almost $300 billion on Main Street America, and you convert that to man hours, it was almost 220 man hours you had to comply to get with the regulation. Well, there again, you can't hire people to do that. So we're reducing regulations tremendously. The bankers would tell you that. It's helping, so guys like me can go borrow money for a payroll, meet the required daily expenses you might have. So we got that going. 100% expensing in the bill is a huge deal for manufacturing. Now you can buy something, you can buy a truck, you can buy a piece of equipment, you can write it off 100% as opposed to having to schedule it out over 3 or 4 or 5 years. This is a big deal. So you're going to have less regulation, you're going to have tax cuts, your permit, you have 100% expensing. And one of the great things we did is we gave the military a 20% pay increase. These young men and women, I've represented Fort Hood for the last, almost 15 years now. And when you see our soldiers sleeping outside barracks because they won't meet standards, sleeping in sleeping bags, on food stamps, it rips you apart. And these are the kids we're asking to fight for freedom and liberty. And so we gave them a 20% pay increase, largest increase in the history of the military. They deserve it. They actually deserve more. Yeah. And then we paid for the border wall. The border wall's working. We got more border patrol down there. We got more support down there. You saw, was it 2 months ago? We didn't have a illegal border crossing 2 months ago. So that's working. We want everybody to realize the dream, but don't come between the ports of entry. Come through the ports of entry. Realize the American dream, and take care of your family and move forward. And then, of course, we got no tax on overtime. So that'll mean a lot to you because you work so many hours, right? Huh? No tax on overtime, and no tax on tips, which is a lot of cash flow coming through there. And when you take no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, you cut the pay, you cut taxes, huge amount of cash flow going through the system. Now, let me say this to you. I had many of you hit me with this, and I agree totally. We got a debt problem, too. Huge debt problem. And the problem is, you know, we have paying high interest, we raise interest on ourselves, it's a real mess. But we did reduce some expenses in this bill, but this bill was designed to be a cash flow bill, okay? And then we got to go over here and address the expense bill. But so I totally support it. That's going to put more money in the system. It's going to get the economy back. I will tell you, whenever I go, I travel all over the country, talking to small business owners, they're excited. They're excited. One thing they don't ask me about, though, and a lot of people do, but what they don't, is small business is not worried about tariffs right now. They want more money on those checks. They want their employee making more money, and we're in the process of making that retroactive and getting that going. So that's kind of what we going on. I will tell you this, I'm proud of our military. A couple of weeks ago when we did the military action on Iran, weren't you proud to be an American? And it was very successful. And when you think about how we had to do it, the F-35s, F-22s, B-2 bombers, and those B-2 bombers one had a pilot of 28 years old, another one had a pilot of 21 years old. Isn't that amazing? And one of them, we don't know who, was a woman. And those B-2s had to meet those F-35s at the same time. They had a 20-minute window to make it work. It just showed the world that we still are somebody to be considered when you think about doing bad things. And I believe, like you do, that America always has been, should be, the strongest in America. We should be strongest socially, economically, militarily, and spiritually. If we're there, the world will not implode. If we're not, the world will implode. And I believe we're getting our country back. There's a lot I don't agree with. There's a lot I agree with. But I think in chairing the Small Business Committee, Main Street America, dealing with the Fed, trying to get our money supply in order and that sort of thing, that I'm making a difference. And it's a huge honor to be able to represent you in Congress. And so many of you have come up to see us and so forth. But I believe, like you do, I believe that America is the greatest country in the world. Sometimes we get a little rough edges, but we're still the best country in the world. That's why you don't see people leaving the coast of America. That's why you see people coming to the coast of America, because we are the greatest. And I also believe we need to get back to basic values in our country. I was on the radio today about some of these shootings, and we talked about mental illness and that sort of thing, which I don't profess to be an expert on. But what I do know, my fix for it is the family unit, where we get back to going Little League games and Dad comes home and eats dinner and that sort of thing. I think that's the big fix, but it's going to be hard to fix it. But along with that are the social clubs. And when I was growing up, and Tom was growing up, and Gary was growing up, and others, we knew where we were going to be, and we got in business, right? We were going to be here with our dads and so forth. And I see we need to continue to promote that and touch these young people and do the things I saw today to make sure that we do keep America on the right path. But it's a great honor to represent you. A lot going on in D.C. I would just say, may God bless this community. May God bless this club and the Rotary Club nationally and internationally. May God bless all of you. May God bless Texas. But most importantly, when we go to bed tonight and our head hits the pillow and our feet hit the ground, we've got to thank God that we live in the greatest country in the world, the one we'd love to call the United States of America. And I would tell you, I'll close with two scriptures. One is Luke 6:38. It says this: a good measure will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. That's Rotary. They're talking about Rotary, talking about giving back, working hard, giving back. And then I know this is a nonpartisan group. I know that. I'll just close by one other scripture, John. John says simply, you catch more fish on the right side of the boat than you do the left. So thank you for having me here, and I'd be glad to answer your questions. Yes, sir.
Right now, our country and our world is
Do I believe in global warming? Well, it's hot as heck out there yesterday, I know that. You know, look, that's a legit question. And I don't profess to be an expert in it. I listen to all sides. I really do. I want to get it right. But I think that, and we're doing a lot about it. You know, we talk about global warming and some of these other things, and the United States do this and that. The biggest problems are not the United States creating all that. I mean, we talk about global, but also it's India and some of these other clubs that just have no rules. And they're just breaking all kinds of environmental rules. But I'll listen to global warming. I don't know the answer, but I have 2 grandkids. I want them to live as long as they can in a life in the greatest country in the world, free of disease and other things. So, okay, do you believe in global warming? I do. Thank you. Sit down. Jim.
Roger, a statement and then a question, if I may. As you were addressing the tax cuts, I learned about one just this week, thanks to an article in the Wall Street Journal that applies to me personally. That's where I get to claim the standard deduction. And because I contribute to my church,
Yeah.
I get to take an additional deduction above the standard up to $2,000. And I appreciate you including that in the bill as well. Now, the question. I've heard lots of folks saying that the bill is going to cost 17 million people their health care. Would you care to address that?
Well, there's a lot of people that say that, but it's actually going to, the problem is that we have a work requirement in there, okay?
You mean to say that in order to get free health care, I'm going to have to go to work?
Yeah. And what a lot of people, they get these numbers, they assume that you're not going to, you know, that you not going to be able to get a job, you can't get to work, and this sort of thing. And all we're requiring, I think, is 20 hours a week. And it could be a job or it could be volunteer service. So those numbers are not real numbers. More and more people are going to get a job, they're going to get off, and they're going to be able to live a fulfilling life.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can just go out and do something good in the community and volunteer.
You might get paid for it too. Yeah. So, new concept. One second. Yes, ma'am. Right here.
Considering you said that you are oversee the finance committee and knowing all of those that are happening with the Fed and
With what?
with the Federal Reserve Board.
Okay. Yeah.
And with the interest rates, all the conversations and controversy of how they are able to make decisions on their own. Do you ever see that changing? You mentioned that you oversee the Fed. So I was curious, how does that work? And I know that the president has made comments about what he wants to see,
Yeah.
and the Fed is standing strong. So what do you see?
Yeah. So the Financial Service Committee, which I'm speaking of, Jerome Powell has to report to us twice a year. So we have kind of oversight over the Federal Reserve. President Trump is talking a lot about it right now. Now I'm old enough to where I paid 0% interest, paid 20% interest, okay? And neither one of those are natural. We're around 5 or 6 right now. The principal balances are what's tearing everybody up. It's so expensive to buy anything anymore, you know? But the fact of the matter is interest rates do need to come down. And I think that, I think you're going to see them come down in September. I think you'll see them come down in December. But right now, there's not that much inflation. Interest rates are too high. If you lower interest rates, you pay more principal and so forth. And so, you know, 6% on $1,000 is less than 6% on 7,000, and it creates more money to put in a reduction of a debt. And so also we have this huge debt in America, $36 trillion, and every time he doesn't lower the rate or raise the rate, you raise it on yourself. That's what President Trump's talking about. Cut the rate so we don't pay as much interest, and you can take the difference and you can invest it or apply it against debt. So we need, and he's not going to get rid of Powell. Powell will be here, but there's a lot of pressure on him right now to reduce it. In fact, for the first time since '93, you might have seen where 2 of the governors voted against the chairman the other day, voted for a reduction in interest rates. But it's time to reduce rates. And I think we'll see that happen real quick. And I'm in a business, in the car business, where we're driven by interest rates. So if I can get rates down, we'll make more money. So, good question. Yes, sir. Is there somebody over there? Yes, ma'am.
Congressman Williams, thank you for being here today. My name is Corey Harrison. I just wanted to personally thank you. My son's a sergeant in the United States Army. He is stationed at Fort Hood, and he sent me pictures of his living conditions, and I was irate. And so thank you for representing Fort Hood and for what you're doing to make the lives of all the men and women he serves with there better. I appreciate it.
Well, most importantly, tell him we love him. We appreciate his service. But we've almost rebuilt all the barracks on one side of Fort Hood, and of course, a lot of construction going on now. But tell him thanks for his service. Yeah, Gary.
Roger, we heard how expansive your district is. We've got redistricting going on. What do you anticipate and severe changes with regard to your footprint in Tarrant County?
Well, actually, there's a map out. It's going to be the map, I guess. And redistricting is what we're talking about, moving the districts around and so forth. Our congressional district is now almost 1 million people. So when you start drawing lines, you got to waggle in. But it looks like my district is not going to change that much. It looks like I'm going to get more Fort Worth. I keep everything I had west of here. I lose a little in Johnson County. And I lose a little in Arlington, but we still have most of all of Arlington. So basically my district will look like all of Arlington. I'll have all the stadiums and everything, move this direction. Fort Worth's going to be, it's going to be wiggly waggly, but we're going to get more of that and then head out there and we go to the counties you named. So it's going to be fine. My footprint, I lose a little of Republican voters in this, but I think that our message is one that is not so political that we can't get support from both sides. So, Jim.
Roger, I read that Stellantis expects to pay $1.7 billion in tariffs this year. Are they going to pass that down to dealers like you?
That's a great question. You sound like a dealer. Okay, so the question was Stellantis, which is Chrysler, says tariffs going to cost them $1.5 billion. I think that what they're going to see is several things. Number one, we haven't seen it passed down to us yet. It'd be hard for them to do it, frankly. What they need to do is to basically commit to upgrade facilities in the United States or build plants in the United States. They could make that deal probably with President Trump. He'd probably give them a 5-year respite to get it all done and that kind of thing. You see GM and Ford already doing that. But right now, we haven't seen any of the tariffs passed down because just as of yesterday, they didn't really have a number. But I will tell you this, if we do get tariffs, you'll be able to buy a car cheaper than you can without a tariff. Okay? Think about that. So if I got a car that's been on the shelf too long, I'm going to discount it. And the factory's going to discount. They're going to pay you a discount to buy it, and your used car is going to go higher than it's ever been. So all of a sudden you bought a car with a tariff cheaper than you did without a tariff. So that's my line. You figure that one out and come see me. But we haven't seen it yet, and I don't know that any other than the European side, as Mercedes and that kind of thing, have seen it. But that's a lot of money to eat, but the dealers can't eat it. And one of the things that we're also doing, you're going to see a lot of emission requirements taken away from the cars that you buy in the future. And we also are going to put a lot of full court press on the manufacturer to deliver them to us and to you cheaper than they were because they're not going to have to put the same equipment on there. So we're going to have a little battle going on internally in the industry.
Congressman, we have time for one more question.
Okay. One more question. Yes, sir.
If you're king of the world, what are 2 things that you want to get done that aren't moving right now?
Well, I think if I was king of the world, I would, here in America, I'd get the other side, the Democrats together. We agree on more than you think we agree on. And if we could all come together and say, okay, we agree on this, we don't agree on that, put the don't agree over here. Let's go outside the press and tell them everything we agree on and get America going. But also, I would make sure our military is the strongest. I'm just telling you, the world has to have a strong America military presence. We are the ones. Because of what we did in Iraq the other day, or Iran, Putin hasn't moved. He hasn't moved because he saw what can happen. You see China beginning to make deals with us. China will not attack us, but China wants to attack our economy. But they're making deals with us. And I think we have to have a good economy, worldwide economy, lead that economy. We have to have a strong military presence. And we have to have a strong spiritual presence in the world, okay? We have to do that, right? Because I can tell you the world, they may not really say it publicly, but the world is begging for America to lead. And there was some question about that in other years past. But if they know America's leading, we're going to have a strong economy. We're going to have a strong world, a strong presence. So if I don't want to be king. I want to be vice president, because then you just go around and do some things and cut some ribbons, and everybody calls you Mr. Vice President. So anyway, but listen, thank you again for having me. Some of your most fun speeches or remarks you give are to your buddies, and I got so many out here today. It's great to see you. I can't help but think of Neve about my dad and Charlie Hillard and Frank Kent sitting right there, and everybody trying to sell each other a car and cheaper and all that sort of thing. And had some real, and Gary Cumby put some real newscasts on, much like what you did today, that would make people uncomfortable sometimes. But anyway, thank you. God bless. I love all of you. Thank you very much.
Congressman Williams, it is the tradition of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth to make a gift in your honor to Rotary's Polio Plus program. As a Rotarian yourself, you know that Rotary has been working to eradicate polio for more than 35 years, and we've had quite a bit of success. We appreciate you representing us in Congress as a Rotarian, and thank you, and come back to your home club anytime.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for this. And also, let me just invite all of you, many of you have been up, come to DC, holler at my office. We'll get you set up with all kinds of stuff and see how great this country is. And we'd love to have you come up there and do one. That's one of the things you can call Emma right here, who cut us off today. We have an office in Arlington at the ballpark. We have an office in Cleveland. But you can call our office if you want to go to DC, grandkids, kids, whatever. You come see us. We'd love to show it off.
And I want you to notice Congressman Williams has on his badge, Paul Harris Fellow, and a gold badge, and you know what that means. We appreciate it. We have just a few announcements, so bear with me. We need piano players. All you have to know is one piece, the national anthem. So if you play the piano, please share your talent with us. Just see me or Aurora, and we'll get you all signed up. Next week, on August 8th, Vice President Robert Stearns will be presiding, and we'll hear from Ed Watson, president of Acme Brick, and have a special report from the students that we sponsored at RYLA, the Rotary Youth Leadership Academy. I know you want to hear both of those presentations. And don't forget to order your Rotary shirt to wear on August 22nd when we welcome District Governor John Bullock. Let's show him some Fort Worth Rotary spirit. And with that, thank you for being here today. Our meeting is adjourned. See you next week.